Hello, everyone. I'm Dees Hinton with Central Mississippi Real Producers, and welcome to our podcast, we think number 7 podcast that we've done. Of course, at Real Producers, you probably already know, but what we do at Real Producers is feature and cheer, lead, and celebrate the top producing real estate agents in the Central Mississippi area. And we also try to help connect these top real estate agents with top industry professionals in the Central Mississippi area that realtors work with. And we do that through our monthly publications that we do, which, by the way, we have done. We've just completed 53 months of monthly publications for Real Producers. And also through our quarterly events, social networking events, which we have another one coming up soon. That's right. And then also through our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram. And over the past couple months, we've started videos and podcasts. And that's what we're here today to do. I've got a couple people with me. I've got Gingerlyn Wallace, who is our creative marketing director at Central Mississippi Real Producers. And Gingerlyn also has her own business, G Designs, where she is interior designer and decorator and staging business, and works with lots of realtors in our area and doing that. So also we have as guest today Tyler Wiltshire with Insurance Protection Specialist.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to have you. And so we're going to just chat about maybe the insurance business today. And we also featured Tyler a few months back in our publication. We do a partner spotlight feature on one of our partners each month. And we featured Tyler in March of this year and told his story. And we get your story out to the realtors so they can and that's what our business is all about. It's about building relationships. We don't sell magazines. We work on building relationships among the top realtors and then building relationships among industry professionals that want to work with these top realtors. So that's all this is about, and this is just part of what we're doing and how we do it. So, but anyway, welcome, and Gingerlyn is just full of lots of questions to get this going. So.
I think so.
Yeah.
So.
Well, before we get into Insurance Protection Specialists, we would love for you to just share a little bit about your family and who you are, and go.
Yeah. So my name's Tyler Wiltshire. I work at Insurance Protection Specialist. I have a wife. Her name's Abby, and then 2 girls, Mary Tyler and Olivia, and they are 8 and 2. So they keep me pretty busy. You know, I'm living the girl dad life. So it's
been there, done that.
Yeah.
I have 3 daughters.
Okay. Yeah. So I grew up in a house with all boys, and then now I have all girls. So it's,
I have 4 grandsons.
Okay. Well,
so it
just comes in cycles then.
Yeah, that's right. So I always thought that when I was going to get married, I always thought I'd have a son to knock around or whatever to come up behind me, but that God had a different plan for me. But I have 3 beautiful daughters, and they're great. But now I'm getting my boys.
Here you go.
Through my daughters. So here's your boys. So and it's really cool.
That's funny. So yeah. Now I was kind of like you. I always thought, I said, well, I want a boy, but now that I have 2 girls, it's like I don't know that even if we had another one, that I would want a boy. Just having the girls in the house it's different.
Yeah,
so.
Definitely is.
Awesome.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
yeah, get ready.
So I hear.
You'll have boys in your house at some point.
Don't they say that the girls are easier when they're younger, and then it gets a little bit more dramatic and expensive?
That's what I hear. So,
well, that's awesome. Well, okay, so Insurance Protection Specialist. I'm actually a customer, so I know a little bit about y'all. But I think it's an interesting kind of take on insurance. So explain.
Yeah, so we are what you call a independent broker. So what that means is we write through multiple carriers. I can't give you the exact number of carriers, but it would be, for a house product, we probably have about 10 different carriers that we can quote through. And what that provides for, I guess, the real estate agents and then for their clients is whenever they're going to purchase a house, we're able to provide them, number one, with the best coverage for the best price. And so you don't have a real estate deal that gets hung up because of the insurance, right. Throws the debt to income off whenever they're trying to, get to the closing. Sure. Can't always avoid that, but for the most part, we're able to, we know once we shop it out in the market that we're going to have the best rate on it to make sure that client's able to close on that house and purchase that property.
So there's when you think of insurance, you kind of have those names of insurance that you think like you need to call them directly. Mm-hmm. But with what you do, we call you, and then you kind of check it all out for us.
Right. So really we work for the client. Whereas, if you work for a captive agency, you're working for, you have that one product, nothing wrong with that. That's just what they offer. Sure. Whereas, our allegiance is not to the carriers, it's to the client to say, hey, we're going to provide you with the best coverage for the best price. Mm-hmm. And, there's nothing in it for me to put it with any other company, it's what's best for you.
Right, so. Right. And let's just say I've had insurance with one company for a while. My rates are going up. And I call you and go, I'm not happy with how expensive this is getting. What do y'all do? So
we'll just shop it out in the market and just see what the rates come back. And I mean, we're not always able to get the best price, but, for the most part, because we are shopping it to so many companies, there's a high percentage of the time that we're going to come back with the most competitive rate on that. So.
You want to talk about the components of pricing that goes into rates?
So if you're a real estate agent, important things for this is going to be, a person's credit can affect their insurance rate. We don't go in and pull an actual credit report, but it's like a credit snapshot. And so if someone's obviously not paying their bills, probably not going to be buying a house anyways. But that can affect that. Claims obviously is going to affect the price greatly. You don't want to get into a situation, especially where you're filing multiple claims in a year. If it can't be avoided, it can't be avoided. But carriers right now in the marketplace are being very picky on the business that they want because they're all because of the economic times that we have right now. They're all experience. I won't say hardship. That's not a good word for it because they're making plenty of money, but where they want to be at, they're not where they want to be at. Right. And so they're at this point, increasing rate, and they're also being very selective on if you have claims, if you have what we call a bad insurance score. So that's going to be if you cancel your insurance midterm and go to another carrier, that can affect that. If you do it one time, it's not really a big deal, but if you see somebody's changed their insurance 3 times in 1 year, then that's, a carrier's not really going to be too happy about getting that. Right. So, those things you just got to be careful with. I always tell people, shop your insurance on a yearly basis or at least every 2 to 3 years. But you don't want to get in a situation where you're moving companies, 2-3 times a year. Right.
So you kind of have your clients and you provide that service for them. So if they want to check it out, once a year and they're like, hey, I'd like to know if there's a better option. Yeah.
So what we do when we shop it out, we'll actually usually provide you with 2 or 3 quotes. That way you can look at the different coverages, look at the pricing on it. And then also, some people they don't want to do business with certain companies. And, we don't have an issue with that. That's why we usually send 2 or 3 out. That way, if someone's like, they had a bad experience with this company or that company, that we're not, we don't want to make anybody feel like, okay, well, I have to go with this one because it's the cheapest rate. Because usually, they're 100 to, there is a big variance with some, but usually they're $100, $200 difference a year. So.
So do you have like a list of certain companies that y'all quote for?
Yeah, well, yes. So we have, just to name a few, we've got Travelers, Nationwide, Farmers, Progressive, Safeco, Liberty Mutual, and I know I'm missing a few, State Auto. There's several companies out there that we can run it through, and I know I missed some, and I'm sorry if I missed them, but we've got multiple options out there, and so usually we can fit. We can get you what you need.
That's awesome. So. I thought that was really fascinating because I used to be with a company,
right.
And if I wanted a better rate, we'd kind of talk about it. But whenever I moved over to IPS, it was like, oh, well, you have 5 or 6 companies, and we're going to check the rate that each company would provide for you. And I just thought, wow, that's so great.
Yeah, and they're, with the companies that just offer their product, there's nothing wrong with that. And there's, they have a percentage of the market that they're competitive on and that they want, and they're good for that. And I started out my career in insurance with one of those companies, great company. What I wanted, though, was to be able to provide to my clients the option, because I always hated to lose a client that I'd had for multiple years. They're a good client, but, we go up on the rate an astronomical amount, and it's like, I have to call them and say, oh, it is what it is. Yep. That usually doesn't work well for the client. And so that's, was the reason I moved over to the independent side. So I just had the options where I'm not going to lose it. If I lose a client, more than likely it's because of something I did, not, something I can't control.
Right, because you pretty much can, even though you may not have every company, but you have a majority.
Right.
All those popular ones, I can think of all the jingles and commercials, that you hear, you work with them.
Right.
So you really can provide
those
coverages, to your client. Mm-hmm. They don't have to go to somebody else.
Correct.
Unless you just made them mad.
Right. And that happens.
That happens. Yeah.
Not often, but
So now how long have you been doing insurance?
Oh, so it doesn't seem like very long, and I guess to some people this may not be very long, but I guess 6-7 years now, right around there. So it's going fast, but it's I've enjoyed it, learned a lot, and continue. I tell people in insurance, and as our new employees come on, you've got to continue to learn in this business, just like in any business. Things have changed, even from the 7 years I've been in, have changed so much. Just for instance, before COVID, people typically came into the office. Now nobody comes into the office. Everything's done over the phone, Zoom, and so it's things change, and we have to adapt with that.
Right. Well, one of the fun things about Tyler is that you're doing something kind of interesting that caught our eye, and we thought, hey, we need to get him on here and talk to him about that. So tell us about your podcast.
Yes, so I do have a podcast, which is very odd to me because I feel very comfortable sitting in y'all's seat doing the interviewing, but being the one interviewed, it's it feels a lot different. And y'all have video, and so we don't have video, so that also, it's like, what do you do with your hands, and where do you look?
That's right. So, and if you have to scratch your nose, you're like, okay.
But our podcast is called, my co-host is Dakota Tate and Adam Horlock. It's called Bourbon and Business, and we like to bring in local business people and just hear their story.
3 shots.
Yeah, well, depends. Typically the crazy thing is we've started recording these things at like 8 a.m. So it's always like, we take a sip of it, but it's like, it's too early in the morning to get going. But, every now and then it's like, I'm feeling it today. Yeah. So, but
does the conversation get more interesting as you?
Yeah, I think it does help. Because we're at this point, we're 30 something episodes in, and it's become kind of like, and I'm sure y'all are starting to feel this way, more like it's a job type deal. You're doing it. Whereas the guests, I think it loosens them up a little bit.
Yeah.
They get a sip of whiskey, and it doesn't make them feel as, I guess, in the spotlight like we are right now.
So. Yeah, which you are. So how did that start? I mean, what made y'all say, hey, we want to do this?
Well, it started with bourbon. So no, seriously, I was, I'd always had the idea. I was like, I like listening to podcasts, and I was like, it'd really be cool to just, be able to interview business people and hear their story and how they got started. And so one night about a year ago, I texted Dakota, and I said, hey, what do you think about starting a podcast? And he was like, I mean, yeah, it sounds good, but what's it going to be about? And I said, what do you think about bourbon and business? Or we may have started out saying business bourbon, I don't know. But anyways, that's how it came to be. And we started in January recording, and it's been a blast.
Wow. So y'all have been doing it since January. Do you know how many episodes you've done?
We have recorded around 40, I think. Wow. Now we have not. We've released. I think our 32nd episode is going to be released this Thursday. Okay. So I think that's right. And I could be wrong on that number, but it's right around there. So
are you going to keep it audio, or are you planning to go to?
We've went back and forth. So Adam handles most of that. So I try not to get to put my I guess opinion out there on that because he knows more about it than me. I don't know though. It's I do like y'all's the video aspect of it.
Hey, I know a guy who does.
Yeah,
does
this,
yeah. We got a guy
that I can hook you up with.
And so we're still debating on that. So I guess we'll kind of see how our guests and what they want, our listeners what they want, and see maybe something that we entertain. So yeah.
Well, that is awesome. I mean, really kind of neat because we just started doing this and we are on number 7, as we said. So we thought, hey, maybe you could give us some advice.
I don't know what advice I could give you because y'all have done a great job with what you're doing so far. But the biggest thing is I think like what you are doing, just being consistent with it. I think people like to know, hey, these are coming out. And I mean, now we get from our listeners, if something's not right or something like that, they'll let us know, which we appreciate it, Yeah. But it's that
social media, they'll let you know.
Yeah, they'll let us know social media, email, or a lot of people in person. But it's helped us tweak things, just hearing what people say that they want. So
that's neat, yeah.
Hey, I was in the insurance business for 27 years.
That is right.
I don't remember if I talked to you about that or not, but 22 or so years of that with the same carrier. I was a captive person with the same carrier. So one thing I do know about insurance careers, and we talked a little bit about this in our other podcasts, the financial markets certainly play a part in pricing and affordability and just people's reaction to buying insurance, and as do products. Products change. You got a lot of competition, and you've got a lot of different moving parts within a product that you can make larger or smaller that affect price. But when it comes down to it, and you touched on this a little while ago, it's relationships. Once you get them as a customer, and they trust you, because most people are really not schooled in insurance, and they're totally reliant upon their agent to lead them in the right direction and do the right thing for them and have their back when they have a claim and those sort of things. So, but relationships are what is utmost important, and quite honestly, and pretty much everything in life, relationships are what's really important.
Yeah. And that's a big thing we pride ourselves on at IPS is we want to put the client first, and that's in all aspects. We're not there just to get your business and then you never hear from us or you can't ever get in touch with us. Yep. We want to be there to help walk you through the process, whether that's swapping a car out, you buy a new vehicle, if you build something in your backyard. Yeah. We want to be able where you can pick the phone up and you call us directly. You don't have to go through a 1-800 number. We say, hey, call this number to file your claim. There's a place for that. If you want to do that, you have that option, obviously, but we also want to be there to do that for you if you need that. Yeah. And, one thing I would tell, I guess, real estate agents and just the general public is you don't ever want to shop your insurance solely based off price. Now that's obviously within reason. I'm not saying go out and purchase something for 2 times what it should cost.
But that's going to change.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. But you've really got to, number one, do I trust my agent? Because like you said, unless you're in insurance, there are coverages that you wouldn't even know otherwise are out there. So number one, do I trust my agent? Is he going, or he or she, are they going to give me, number one, the best product, no matter the price?
It fits.
Right.
Which means the coverage you need.
Correct.
You may not know you need.
And you don't want to, you're protecting probably your largest asset in a house, or, one of your largest assets. Why would you want to skimp $10 to I don't know, save yourself $10, and then when a claim comes, that you're at a huge financial loss.
Right.
You got to look at it. People look at insurance like it's I don't know what the best word, but they look at it like I'm just going out and purchase this because I have to have it.
Right.
Well, no, it's there to protect you in the time of need, and a lot of times you get what you pay for. So I would say just always make sure you trust your agent. That they're doing right by you. And then the other thing is, as a consumer, you do have the responsibility. You need to make sure you're looking at these documents. Ask your agent, hey, what does this mean? What does that mean? Something as little as, I'll just throw this out here to the general public. There's a coverage that goes on houses that will cover you if, say, you live in an HOA, and the HOA says, hey, we don't do partial replacements on roofs. Well, if you don't have that endorsement on there to cover that, if you have a roof claim, and then say the carrier comes out and says, hey, we're just going to replace 5 shingles here. Well, your HOA says, well, actually, we don't allow that. You're going to have to replace the entire roof. Wow. Well, if you didn't pay the $10 extra, and I'm saying $10, please don't quote me. I don't mean it's going to be $10, but
it may be minimal.
It's a small amount. If you did not have that endorsement, then the carrier is only obligated to pay for those 5 shingles that they're going to replace. And then you, as the homeowner, because of the HOA rules and laws, are going to be responsible for paying for the rest of that roof. So it's just small things like that. And that's called ordinance of law coverage. So anybody listening to this, if you have an insurance policy, pull it out and see if you have that endorsement on there. And those small things go a long way. And especially, like you said, with a relationship, there's no faster way to ruin a relationship is when you didn't put ordinance of law coverage on there.
Yep.
So
they gonna come back to you, and why didn't you tell me about this?
And really, I mean, there are times, if we suggest a coverage to a client and they deny it, we always get a form signed saying, hey, we offered this, and you didn't want it, and we don't do that as like a sales tactic to try to get you to buy it. I mean, really, we think you should buy it if we're telling you, but at the end of the day, 10 years from now, you may not. Those conversations are forgotten a lot of times, and we always just want to make sure that we're offering you what we think that you need. Now, whether you take it or not as a consumer, we're not going to force anybody to do anything. If they say, no, I want it this way, this is how I want it, then we will offer that for them. But we want to do our due diligence on the front end and make sure that we're offering them the right thing to start with. Yeah. So,
well, I do hear a lot of stories of people who have things go on, in their homes and damage and for different reasons, and they go to their insurance and it's not covered, and that can be very detrimental.
Yes. And I always tell people, so as far as a claim goes, you want to always, the first thing you want to do is get a contractor to come out that you trust and give you an estimate on what's going on. To number one, you want to make sure that it's going to be covered by the insurance policy, because like we talked about earlier, your first call should not be to file a claim if you're not 100% sure what's going on, because if it's not covered under the insurance policy, that claim's still going to be there. So just, the hopes are that it will be covered if it's something major. Right. But always, that goes back to relationship, having an agent you can talk to, call your agent, say, hey, this is what I've got going on. They should tell you, okay, get a contractor, come out, give you an estimate, so you have a better idea of what exactly is going on. And, because it could be something, we've seen where people maybe had a leak somewhere. We'll come to find out it was like a $20 fix, something in the attic, or didn't even meet the deductible. You don't want to then file a claim. Right. Insurance carrier sends their adjuster out and says, hey, well, this is actually only $300 to fix. You got a $500 or $1,000 deductible. They just want to try to avoid those things. So always get somebody to come out, look at the damage, try, if it's pouring water into the house, try to stop the damage as much as possible. And, and it's always good to have an agent, like I said, that you can call to help walk you through that, because those usually are stressful situations. And we as agents, we deal with those a lot because it's just the nature of the business. So we're able to help, I guess, walk you through that process. And it's never easy, but to make it as easy as possible. So
it makes it more personal that I can call you and you can go, no, we're not going to file the claim just yet. Right. We're going to find out what's going on. Whereas, we probably would have jumped online and.
Yeah, because everybody assumes, it's covered or what it is. We always think worst case scenario naturally, but a lot of times, once you take a step back, you realize, okay, well, this may not be as major as I thought it was.
Right.
So,
I've known Chip Jones for a long time.
Yeah.
Chip's still coming around, and
he does. So he stops by the office. I'd say probably once or twice a week, and he comes in and sees everybody. But I think that he's, at this point, just enjoying grandkids, and I know they're going back and forth a good bit. I think they have grandkids in Starkville and Oxford, so I think they're enjoying that time. So I'm happy for him.
Who doesn't know who that is?
So Chip and Bubba Howell started IPS as it is today.
When was that? 20-some years ago.
Yeah, it's been 20. I
know he was.
I'd be lying.
Alpha. He was with Alpha for a while.
Yeah. Well, they were both with Alpha, and then they went out on their own and actually bought IPS. And I think, this is way before my time, but they merged a couple agencies together, and then now IPS is what it is today. Okay. So.
And Clancy Walker.
Yep, Clancy's an agent out there.
Agent.
So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, I didn't even realize you were one of our clients.
Yeah,
so good to know.
Yeah, how about that?
Okay, well, I don't know if everybody else knew that this type of insurance agent was available. I only recently found out, so hopefully this is.
Well, it's like I said, most people are I don't want to say ignorant, but they about insurance and how it works and how it fits in with the contract and all of that. So
yeah, and with insurance, most of the time when people think about insurance, it's a negative thought because typically there's something negative that has to happen for an insurance policy to be there. So people it's not at the top of people's minds until it has to be.
Protection against financial loss.
Correct. Yes, and I'm glad you said that because a lot of people, think of insurance as it's, I'm supposed to gain from this, or it's like a lottery ticket. Right. That's not at all what insurance is. Like the whole concept of insurance is there has to be a loss, and then the company gets you back to where you were before the loss. That's right. And so, when you think about insurance, like you said, I'm protecting my assets, and I want to make sure that I'm doing my due diligence on protecting those things because, there are unfortunate situations where, for whatever reason, they're not protected properly, and it does cause a major disruption to somebody's life.
Yep.
So.
Big time. Yep.
Well, this is awesome. I'm so glad you came on here and kind of shared what y'all
glad
do,
y'all had me on. So
it was really interesting to hear about your podcast. I'm going to have to go listen to it now.
Anything else you want to share with realtors about anything?
How do they get in touch with you if they want to?
So, so the best way to get in touch with me is you can reach out to me, email, social media, or my cell phone number is 662-466-6589. You're always welcome to call or text me there. And then our office is right in front of Castlewoods. They're behind the Kroger, that little cut-through road. You're always welcome to stop by the office there and see us. So I'm happy to, even if you just have questions, you're not sure about something, even if you got your insurance somewhere else and you say, hey, I just got a question about this, be more than happy to answer that. So.
Well, thank you so much for being here today and being our guest on our podcast. And Gingerlin, you want to again go over
plug that again?
Plug.
Let's plug it again. Y'all make sure, please subscribe. We are really trying to get good information and good content out there for you, and we want y'all to support our partners when they come on. And one way you can do that is to subscribe. Another way you can do that is to, when this episode comes out, if you've listened, you've heard what Tyler had to say, and you think it's some good information, share that. Share that on Facebook, Instagram, however you want, but share it with your followers and your friends so that they can hear what he has to say also. Your clients, it's a great opportunity to send an email to your clients with a link to this podcast and say, hey, here's some good information for you that you may not have already known. So there's several ways you can support us, but YouTube, you can just search Central MS Real Producers, and it should pop right up. We're also on any podcast platform, so make sure you subscribe. And I think I've said that word one too many times today. Subscribe. Make sure you subscribe, and we look forward to doing some more.
Absolutely. Last thing I'll say is all of our preferred partners that work with us as partners are listed in our magazine that you get every month, usually on page 6 or page 8. And Tyler's contact information is in here, along with all the other partners that support Central Mississippi Real Producers. So it's really important for you realtors to work with our partners so we can continue to do these podcasts and continue to celebrate you as a realtor and your success in the real estate marketplace around here.
That's right.
So, all right. Well, that's a wrap. That's right. And thanks again to KP, Kalen Partee Photography, for his studio and being able to do this today. And we look forward to seeing you again soon.
See you soon.